Welcome everybody to Command Combat Battle Reports, and today we have Star Wars Legion. It is a beautiful day for a battle. In fact, it is clear conditions. Those are the conditions under which the battle will be fought. It's going to be a major offensive, and both sides are going to be trying to capture the supplies. We're playing here at the Perky Nerd, which is in Burbank, down on Magnolia Boulevard, on one of their fantastic boards. Let's take a look at the two sides. Here we have the Rebels. As you can see, they're all infantry today. No ATRTs, cannons, flying things, or any of those shenanigans. They are being led by Leia and her twin brother Luke, who has force reflexes and push. Yes, it is the Wonder Twins. Next we have Rebel Troopers with the Z6, and more Rebel Troopers, this time with an Ion Trooper. There's also the Fleet Troopers with the Scattergun, and there's our star players for today, the Pathfinders, who have all of their add-ons, which includes their leader POW, Overwatch, a comm relay, and a special kind of gun which can switch from long range to really intense short range. We're going to talk a little bit more about them later. We also have the Rebel Commandos with the grappling hook and a proton charge expert. They've got a sniper with grappling hooks and emergency stems, and a group of Wookiee warriors. They've got no add-ons, so I guess we can assume that they are naked Wookiees. Yeah. As I mentioned, our special unit for today is the Pathfinders, which was just released yesterday. They're a very interesting unit in that they can be deployed anywhere on the field as long as they're out of range 3 of the enemy. That power is going to be a little lessened today because the deployment is pretty close to one another, so they might be deploying pretty close to their regular setup anyway. But they have other powers, so it'll be interesting to see how those play out. And here the Imperials come to crush the Rebels. Let's see what they have. They are led by General Veers and General Weiss, who is inside a very full ATST. Yes, they're coming with all their weapons. We've got a unit of snow troopers with an Imperial officer and of course the flamethrower, as well as a stormtrooper with a DLT, another unit of stormtroopers with a DLT and a droid, one group of naked stormtroopers, and a scout sniper. Actually make that 2 scout snipers, we just don't have one of them pictured. And here we are after setup. The Rebels are really lumped together here at the bottom, along with the Commandos slightly pushed up in the center, and the Pathfinders way out here on their own in the top right. They weren't able to set up any further because there are some stormtroopers set up here behind this building. It's 2 units of them and we just can't see them from this vantage point. The Imperials also have some stormtroopers behind the building up here on the top left, and their snowtroopers are under the shadow of the ATST back on the left. The snipers of both sides are kind of out of sight. The Rebel sniper is on the far right, the Imperials have one sniper on the far left, and one in one of those balconies up in the center. They're trying to capture the supplies, 2 of which are on the bottom left over here, way out in the open, in plain view of the ATST, 1 in the center, and 2 up here behind the building, between the Pathfinders and the Stormtroopers. It looks like those Pathfinders are way out there on their own, without any support. They're going to have a lot of trouble beating those Stormtroopers all on their own. Meanwhile, the large lump of Rebels down in the bottom are probably going to have a lot of difficulty getting to those supplies, with the ATST looking down on them. It also looks like their supplies are a little bit far from them, which is unusual for a capture the supplies type of mission. Usually 2 of the supplies are a real gimme for each side, and they wind up fighting over the center one. In this case, that center one is way out there in the open, where the Imperials can see it with an ATST and 2 snipers. The Rebels are really going to have difficulty getting at really any of these supplies. Alright, let's get started with this and see how it goes. The Rebels start with a coordinated bombardment, and the Imperials start with... Sorry, I don't read Star Wars. The sniper fires and gets a complete whiff. The Pathfinders move forward along the course of the broken bridge and take cover under it. They use their sentinel ability to go on a standby and shoot down the stormtroopers as they come to grab the supplies. The stormtroopers come around the corner and shoot 3 of them down. The Pathfinders are already going down. POW is screaming for whoever's left. The rebellion forever! The snowtroopers have moved forward, taking cover as they move. The sniper and ATST cover the approaches. The ATST activated dead last on this, so he was able to cover a large area for a long time. The Rebels, afraid of that full arsenal of the ATST, took cover behind the building. It didn't help a lot because they took a lot of suppression, and their leader Leia was injured. Luke led the Wookiees and the Commandos out to the center, where they have gotten to the supplies there, being fired on by the sniper. The Pathfinders did a little damage to the stormtroopers and then took a lot of damage from them. And finally, as we saw, the sniper whiffed. On to the next turn, and Luke has used My Ally as the Force, while Veers is using maximum firepower. The commandos grab the supplies and run for cover. The stormtroopers fire the Pathfinders and take the remaining 2 down. That's a real pity because this was supposed to be a video mostly showing off what the Pathfinders can do. Unfortunately, the players set them up way out on their own without any support, and they got gunned down. Well, we at least got to see a little bit from them before they all got killed. Stormtroopers on the other side opened fire on the fleet troopers and almost completely wiped them out. All they have left is their commander. That is a major whiff on their side. The rebel sniper takes out the spotter for one of the Imperial snipers, and the horde of other rebels shoot down the flamethrower. He was one of the only snowtroopers that they could see. The Imperial sniper shoots down at the commandos and takes one of them out. And that's where we are at the end of turn 2. The rebel troopers have grabbed the crate and are running back, using the fleet troopers as meat shields as they go. The stormtroopers are shooting them down as they run, and throwing down fire from their snipers and their AT-ST. Luke has run right out into the middle of the field, using dodge to cover himself. The commandos are under a whole lot of fire, look at all of that suppression. And the Wookiees have run across the field, taking cover inside the building, right around the corner from the stormtroopers. The stormtroopers, meanwhile, have gotten both of the crates. You may notice that we set that up a little wrong. The crates are supposed to be at least range 1 from one another. We forgot it set up. Oh well, that's bad on us. Okay, back to the game. The Imperials play ambush, and the Rebels play no time for our sorrows. The Rebels use that to let their troopers with the supplies run for cover. The commandos make it, while the AT-ST opens fire, killing the unit that was carrying the other supplies. Those supplies are now out there in the open, close to the Rebels, but it may be just out of reach with that AT-ST killing everything that it sees. The sniper then finishes off the fleet trooper commander. That's another Rebel unit down, and it may be hopeless for them. So close, yet so far away. Then Luke goes jumping up onto the balcony. He slices, he dices, he takes out the sniper. The snowtroopers come around the corner and throw their grenades, doing only a little bit of damage. Leia peeks around the corner, fires, and takes out all 3 remaining snowtroopers. All they have left is the commander. A little different looking commander because he's from Shapeways. The other rebel troopers shoot, and look at all that whiffing. That is after an aim and a fire. So that's after 10 rolls, they didn't get a single hit on a unit that's standing out there in the open. And the medical droid even brings back one of the snowtroopers. The rebels are not having a good day today. Except on the other side, where the Wookiees have come running out and are beating up the stormtroopers. They take out all but 2 of them. And here we are at the end of the turn. The stormtroopers are making slow but steady progress down there on the left. Leia has damaged them pretty severely, but she's working with a lot of incompetence down there. And they don't even have the supplies. The Imperials are keeping them pinned with the AT-ST and the sniper, but Luke has taken out the other sniper and is set up to jump over that building, while the Wookiees are really beating up the stormtroopers who have the supplies on the other side. They do have reinforcements, though, that are on their way. On to the next turn, and the Rebels play the infamous Son of Skywalker card, while the Imperials play the infamous Imperial Discipline card, which basically sets up the AT-ST to kick a lot of ass again under General Weiss. The Rebels get the commandos out of sight with their supplies, and Luke jumps into action. Leaping up over the arch, he jumps down onto the Imperial stormtroopers and slices them up, leaving both of their supplies just to him. The Wookiees do the same on the other side, chopping up the Imperials and celebrating. The snowtroopers charge on the bottom, running into melee. Leia runs into the fray with them and smacks them all down. Her soldiers may not be doing much, but Leia, she's got some moves. The commandos at last get to cover, hiding behind the ruins of a building. They're not going to be useful in doing damage, but they've got some supplies. The stormtroopers behind the building shoot at Luke, and he dodges every one of them. Meanwhile, he feels a disturbance in the Force as the AT-ST unloads on his sister and takes her down. At last, the mighty Leia is down. It is a sad day for the rebellion. The one person who was actually kicking some ass has been taken down by General Weiss. Here's an update on the field. The rebel troopers have moved forward and grabbed the supplies, but they're right in plain view of the stormtroopers who are ready to gun them down. The AT-ST and the sniper are also ready to take them down. But in the backfield, where we can't see it from the overhead cam, the rebels have been doing much better with Luke and the Wookiees. That sounds like the name of a band. And over in the back taking cover are the Commandos. And now on to turn 5. The Imperials play pinned down, which is a perfect picture for what's going on. You can see the AT-ST really is doing that to the Rebel troopers. And the Rebels play Return of the Jedi, which is really appropriate, seeing as Luke is taking on a whole bunch of stormtroopers, along with his Wookiee allies. One of those Wookiees is shot down by the stormtroopers, while Luke goes for the supplies. The AT-ST moves back towards them to stop Luke and his friends from taking those supplies. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Rebel troopers are making a break for it, running behind the building with the supplies, while the stormtroopers are chasing after them. So by the end of the turn, the Rebel troopers are taking cover behind the building, dodging as they do, which probably isn't going to do very much good when those stormtroopers catch up with them. The Rebel Commandos are getting away with their supplies, and Luke has run over to the supplies and grabbed them. If he can hold out on this last turn against that AT-ST and those stormtroopers, the Rebels will have won this game with 3 or 4 of the supplies. Let's see how this last turn goes. The Imperials have chosen coordinated fire, which is going to allow them to pass around aim tokens, and all the Rebels can use is standing orders since Leia is gone. The stormtroopers move around the corner and set up a firing squad. Ready, aim, fire! And they take out 2 of the Rebel troopers, but the one holding the supplies is still alive! He has made it out of this game! Meanwhile, the other firing squad fires at Luke, who has a dodge token up, so he's not quite so vulnerable. In fact, he may throw some of those shots back at them. The AT-ST fires, and Luke whiffs! Wow, look at that. Out of 6 rolls, he only got 1 bounce back. That's with the dodge token. He's able to throw it back at the AT-ST, but it doesn't do anything to him. Now the stormtroopers get to take their turn at him. These stormtroopers are shooting at Luke. He's got 1 hit point left.
Okay. Aim. 3 hits.
3 hits. All right, Luke has 3 rolls to get by. I'm right-handed, so I better do this. So, all right, this is Luke. He has to make all 3. He has no dodge left.
And he only gets 1 dodge. Luke is down. He was carrying 2 of the supplies. The Wookiees have already taken their turn, so they're not going to be able to pick the supplies up. In 1 single shot, the Rebels have lost 2 points. This could be devastating to them, but the trooper from the firing squad runs inside the building. Veers chases after him, but he is not able to reach him by the end of the turn. And that is it! The end of the game comes along, and the Imperials only have 1 supply, while the Rebels have 2. Of course, one of those supplies is inside this building, which is surrounded by troopers, Veers, and the AT-ST, plus a sniper, so that he's not getting out of there unless there's some secret exit. But technically he has it at the end of turn 6. And with the Commandos also having a supply token, that means they win 2-1. The Rebels have actually won this game. I suppose if it went 1 more turn, Veers would capture the Rebel trooper, but the Wookiees might be able to get away with those other supplies. But whatever, the game is over, and that was a really fun game. It was intense, it was exciting. We saw quite a bit less Pathfinders than we had hoped. They were really stretched out there on their own. As while the Pathfinder setup is really cool that you can place them anywhere on the board, you don't want to put them somewhere where they're completely without any support. They're much like paratroopers in World War II games. Because of the freedom of setting them up anywhere, you get tempted to set them up way out in the middle of nowhere where they can get isolated and killed. So you want to use their ability to put them out there further, but not somewhere that someone can't come and support them. We did meanwhile get to see some of the other people's great abilities, in particular Luke and Leia. Luke was able to really jump around this board, and Leia showed that she's not just a leader, she can go out there and rack up some kills as well. General Weiss and General Veers were a great combination as usual. Between them supporting the AT-ST and the snipers, that really closed down all of the open avenues. As you could tell, the Rebels were really clumped up and afraid to expose themselves too quickly. Even when they weren't killing, they were massively affecting this board. Well, that was a great game. Thank you all for joining us. If you enjoyed it, make sure to thumb it below and share it with your friends. Also, be sure to subscribe and watch our other mini videos. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming, everybody! Did you enjoy this video? Then thumb us below and let your friends know. Also, be sure to subscribe and watch our other videos. Happy gaming, everybody!